Now we're going to bring in our guest. This guy right here, great follow on Twitter. You can follow him on Twitter and at Kyron Samuel. See if you need to get all your football information. This is the guy right here. Definitely had him on 7 at the Hallis not too long ago. He's going to be our college football correspondent for the season, man. Kai, how you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, man. Happy to be back on. Thank you guys for having me again, and nice to meet you, the rest of the co-hosts.
Definitely, man. We got Bang and we got Courtney in here, man. Dante said he'll be back after the segment, but Courtney here, she calls me a rookie because, which is true, it's 100% a rookie. I am new to the college football fanship. This is like my second season actually fully watching. I used to be one of those, I'll wait till you get to the big leagues type watchers, but I've been paying more attention with it. What's your overall thoughts of what you've seen these first 2 weeks, things that stood out to you?
It's been chaos pretty much. I mean, college football is always a little bit more chaotic than the NFL, but with a little bit more parity, I think from like teams 15 down, you're seeing a lot of upsets. You saw Notre Dame lose to NIU. That's not a team that we're used to seeing get upset like that. I mean, they had a couple of rough years there early on, but it's just been chaos, and I'm excited about it because I think it's added another dimension. I think the fact that we're getting games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're getting game almost every day of the week now between college and the NFL. There's more eyes on the sports than ever. So I'm excited about the overall view of college football right now.
Definitely. It's definitely been chaos, been some big upsets. Courtney, I'm going to go to you next because I know there's some stuff you want to talk about on Friday, but you didn't get to, speak on. What stood out to you this week from the action we just saw this weekend?
Again, we talked about it. We touched on it a little bit. Obviously, Texas is very, very good. But yeah, Michigan, really not good.
Despite the fact that Chuck tried to tell us for 10 minutes.
There's definitely a couple of bright spots on that team. Overall, if they don't lose more than 5 games, it's a good season for them.
I want to talk about Colorado. We all talked about Colorado a couple weeks
ago.
By the way, I said, I want to know your opinion on this guy because I said, by the way, I was misquoted on this show. I said that there's a lot of pressure on Colorado this year. If they don't win 8 or 9 ball games, it's going to be a problem. I was laughed at by the panel, specifically these two people right here, Bang and Courtney, saying that he even wins 6, he should win Coach of the Year.
I didn't say that at all. You just
said that.
I said if he wins 6 games, I said if he wins 6 games, he should be in the discussion for Coach of the Year. But they ain't winning that. That's my opinion.
I never said that. I wouldn't even that's such a laughable thing to even put on that organization. I would never say something like that.
Kai, what do you think about
both of y'all are correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, but both of y'all are correct. From a football perspective, overturning that roster, the amount of roster turnover they've had, the place that they were at 2 or 3 years ago, if he's able to get them to a bowl game, it will be a massive accomplishment. But I think you're also right, Scott, in the fact that the way that the media portrays him and the team, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. We got to be honest about that. If he doesn't win 8 or 9 games, they're going to be laughed at. Even this past week, they lost 28-10 on the road at Nebraska. But nobody's talking about the fact that they won the second half 10-0. Shut out that offense, the Nebraska offense in the second half. Looked very good on defense, finding their rhythm a little bit. This is 2 games in a row that they've made some second half adjustments on defense and haven't given up much of any points. They only gave up 7 to North Dakota State in the first game, 0 this past week to a very explosive Nebraska offense. So they are making progress, in my opinion. It's probably not going to be fast enough because of the media attention and the spotlight and everything that comes with that, right? But they are a team that's progressing and going in the right direction. It's just not going to be fast enough to slow down the media storm, and that's as simple as that. I think people, if Dion was another coach, they'll be giving him a lot more grace. They'll be giving them a lot more time to succeed. But for now, I think they're on the right trajectory. It's just, like I said, not going to be fast enough to please people.
Yeah, so I agree with you to a point. And the reason why it's the point is the self-infliction. And Deion Sanders is not another coach. And that's why I believe that this team could do what you just said if Deion Sanders was the coach, if Deion Sanders would just coach. But I also believe that Deion Sanders was never long for the Colorado job anyway. And once Shadur's done, he's done. I ain't saying he's going to the NFL. I'm not one of those people that say, look out Dallas, because Deion Sanders has always said that he does not want to coach NFL players. But I do think this is almost like pee-wee football type stuff, or like high school type stuff, where you just stick with your kids, and then once your kid's gone, then I'm gone, and that includes Travis, because what incentive do I have to keep this going, especially at Colorado? If Deion wants to coach, because my man is basically on his way out anyway, we'll see what happens when the Florida State job opens up. But outside of that, I don't think Deion wants to coach past Shadur leaving. And furthermore, I don't think Colorado, I've always said that Colorado was not the right choice for Deion Sanders, because it's Colorado, and what are you really building there? Going to a Pac-12 that was already hard, and you came winning, you came to a team that won one game. So it was always going to be a real long-term struggle. To me, he was better off with a team with a smaller conference, and you could still get your joints off in a city you own, in a state you own. He was better off going to South Florida when he had the chance to do it.
I think, when it comes to Colorado, I think, Kai, you said the improvement. You said it's not going to be quick enough. What do you think that this team, even though I said they have to win 8 or 9 games, what do you think should be the goal for them then for this year? Because this is going to be Shadur's last year. This is going to be Travis Hunter's last year. Both of those guys, I believe, are going to be 10, basically top 10 picks. You know what I'm saying? What would you see for them goal-wise this year?
Realistically shooting, I would say 5 games should be realistic, but a bowl game is probably the standard that would satisfy people, and it would probably be maximizing that roster. I think the next couple games are winnable for them. They're going to play a Baylor team soon. They're going to play Colorado State team. They could realistically be 3-1 going into week 5, and I think that would put realistic expectations on them. But a bowl game would be a massive accomplishment, and I think that would be just enough to satisfy the masses, and it would be enough to really show progress to, like, hey, potential recruits, I want to be here. I'm going to be here, because I do see what you're saying, but I think Deion's going to be around. Nobody's in the NFL is going to take him. He's not going to be able to coach a team, any other programs, like he was able to coach Colorado. Colorado is a unique situation where they are a hungry fan base. They are a proud fan base and a proud program, but they've been in the doldrums so long, they needed somebody, right? They needed a figure. They needed a guy that was going to bring attention to them. They're happy with just being in the spotlight again, bringing revenue to the city, being on national TV every week now. So Deion is in a unique situation where he can be himself. He can focus on just the transfer portal. He can have all this freedom that he wouldn't have gotten anywhere else, not even in a place like Jackson. So I think that it's always hindsight is 2020, right? I think he could have stayed at Jackson for a long time and made it a powerhouse, and HBCU football could have greatly benefited. But I also do love the fact that he left the keys to another young black man that had been there for years and was building the right way, and now Jackson's still in good hands. So I think there's nuance to the situation, right? There's a lot of what you're saying is true. And I don't think he's going to follow his kids. I truly think he's going to stay at Colorado for a while. And I've had conversations with him. Me and him I'm not like, but I'm media guy, so I've been able to talk to him a little bit. Yeah. I truly believe he wants to stay around. I don't think he's bringing guys like Warren Sapp in. I don't think he's bringing guys like Pat Shermer in if he was going to be there for a year or 2 years. I think he really wants to be there. It's just like I said, man, I hope the progress is a little bit faster so the dogs can kind of be called off a little bit.
Definitely. Before we go to our next topic, quick little breaking news. We're talking about the locker room, not locker room, but local hour. Tom Pelissero tweets that Roma Dunze has a sprained MCL. He is considered week to week. Of course, you don't want to hear anything about MCLs, knees in Chicago. We know enough about that shit. But that, to me, that's as best as you could probably get. We'll get more of a breakdown there. I'll be at Hallis Hall on Wednesday. That's going to be the talk of the day. Talking to Matt Evelus. We'll break that down on Second Night to Hallis on Wednesday. Let's go to the biggest upset of the weekend. NIU, Northern Illinois, they got a big dub over Notre Dame this past Saturday. Huge upset. I know a lot of people who went to NIU. My cousins went to NIU. They were very hype about that.
Somebody got pregnant.
Yeah, 100%. It was definitely going crazy out there in DeKalb after that win. To me, this is kind of like a two-part question for you, Kai. One, with the 12-team playoff format. I saw a lot of people say that Notre Dame should not be able to have a bowl game or a playoff game after that performance. What do you think about people who say that? And what do you think about the format in general and how these upsets, people are going to look at the teams who lost?
Can we cuss on here? I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
I fucking hate the 12-team playoff, so I'm just gonna be honest because I think it does devalue a lot of the games, right? Like I'm an Alabama guy, I grew up Alabama game. I always use this as an example. Imagine last year Alabama loses to Auburn, right? They don't get the miraculous play on 4th and 31. They lose that game, but then they go beat Georgia in the SEC championship game and still make the playoffs. To me, that's not right. I don't think even a team like Alabama that went 10-2 and would have won the SEC championship should have gotten in because they would have lost to a 6-6 Auburn team. A team like Notre Dame, and this is like, I got a little bit of personal bias in it because I love Marcus Freeman. Quarterback Riley Leonard is a kid from my hometown, but I still don't think they should be able to make the playoffs after this. I mean, they're not in a conference already, so they already have a little bit of a leg up there. They can kind of maneuver their schedule and create a little bit of an advantage there, but they're not in a conference. And they're probably, this is the fucked up part about it, they're probably going to be a pretty good team for the rest of the year. The defense is really good. As long as their offense figures out enough to score 24, 30 points a game, they can beat a lot of people. They'll probably end up 9-3, 10-2-ish, somewhere around there, and be on the cusp of making that playoff. And how could, the Notre Dame brand, right? We have to start looking at everything in totality. The Notre Dame brand is much more valuable than a lot of other teams' brands. So a 10-2 Notre Dame team is going to be much more appealing to a group of people that are making collective decisions than, let's say, a 10-2 Missouri team that probably has worked a lot harder to get there, probably deserves it more. But when it's splitting time, we got to start thinking about the business side of it. So I think I hate the 12-team playoff because it devalues the regular season a bit, in my opinion, and it gives teams like Notre Dame an easy out.
Courtney, what you think about that? I think
I echo literally. That was exactly what I was just going to say. Essentially, people like the idea of the excitement of trying to make the college football playoff more like the March Madness, and I don't understand that. I don't know if college football needs that. Now I will say the 4-team playoff did have its, but isn't that what we want at the end of the day? It had its problems, but at the end of the day, don't we just want to get to the meat and potatoes, the best teams going head to head? Like, with respect, I don't want to watch Texas versus Notre Dame. If this ends up being a scenario where I have to watch number 1 Texas, assuming that's how it goes, if I have to watch number 1 Texas against number 12 Notre Dame, that's going to be fucking terrible. Pardon my language. That's gonna be terrible. I don't want to watch that shit. Sorry.
No, I agree.
Bang, what you think, man? Because I know I'm in the minority of things like this for all sports. I know there's a lot of people who have a problem with the play-in game in the NBA. A lot of people have a problem with the super wild cards. More playoffs is better for me, even if it's bad teams. But I know I'm in the minority of that. Bang, what you think about, with these upsets that are going to shine more on these teams like a Notre Dame who lose in typical years wouldn't be able to still make a bowl game, a playoff game? Does it change anything if you would how the new format is?
Yeah, I'm with everybody else here on here. It devalues the regular season. I don't want to see no one shining moment with no damn college football. Lead the one shining moment with college basketball. With college football, I want to see my team that's the national champion when it go undefeated to lose one game, and I don't need them to be 16-1 to get it. The bowl games, like now I don't even care about the bowl games. The bowl games are just a sight to me now. It's no luster to it. When you say the Rose Bowl used to mean something. The Sugar Bowl used to mean something. The Fiesta Bowl used to mean something. The Cotton Bowl used to mean something. Now it's just a sight. They could play these games home or away at their stadiums, and it would mean the same as these bowl games that are now farces. So, no, I don't like the 12-team playoff. I think it's too much access. And what's going to happen is you're going to have one team like an Alabama or – matter of fact, I'll jump the shark. You have a team like Ole Miss or Notre Dame who ends up in the national championship game because the team that we thought that was going to win just so happens to go up against somebody, get upset. Now they're going to play the Teddy Pendergrass version of One Shining Moment at the goddamn end of the national championship game.
But may I interrupt you and ask you a question? Now, didn't we just watch like 2 seasons ago TCU play in a 4-team championship and get mollywopped by Georgia?
But see,
just watch that
my bad.
No, go ahead, Kyle.
No, but I think both of y'all are correct, though. But I think that's the point of the best team should be there, and we should keep things how they were. Because the bowl games used to be the place where we get those one shining moments.
Right.
We used to see Boise State beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. Even like you said, we just saw TCU. They got beat in the national championship game, but they beat Michigan the first round of the playoffs. So, I mean, we're already still having those type of moments. I still think in large, we're still getting more parity. People love that word parity. There's no such thing as parity, really. You look at the NFL, the same 5 teams have been rotating championships for the last 25 years. You look at college football, it's a bit of the same thing. So the illusion of parity, even in NFL, is false. But the teams, like I said today, I still believe like 15 through like 150. It's a lot more parity there, and that's what we should be focusing on. Like, that's where the bowl games would be awesome. That's where we used to get those major upsets like that. So I do agree that they devalue the playoffs, the regular season a lot. And hey, if you're still good enough, if you are those smaller programs, if you are those TCUs, those South Floridas, those UCFs, if you run the table, Cincinnati got into the playoffs in 2021 or 2022, I believe. If you run the table, your opportunity is still there to play with the big boys. In Cincinnati, they got beat by Alabama, but they got beat 24 or 30-3. That's no different than the way Alabama beats up on any other team. So they still proved that they belong and earned their shot. So I think there was a decent balance we had with the 14 playoffs to appease everybody. And the biggest thing here is just the business side of it. Like, beyond football, beyond anything else, it's more money to be made. They're going to cash more checks. The TV deals are outrageous. They're going to host the first round of the playoffs on these home sites. So the schools are making more money off of it. So the schools are happy. It's just about the money at the end of the day.
Yeah, to answer that question, Courtney, those are anomalies. And you still had
Is it an anomaly, though, when it happens as often as it kind of has in the past few years? I mean, say, as a Bama fan, I have distinct memories.
No. That's what. But let me answer the question. I think in that case, I think in TCU's case, it's more of an anomaly because they stayed at least good and kind of relevant. They still stayed good, kind of relevant, and they was kind of relevant before that. Like, Patterson had that team looking good for years. It's not like a situation where it's like Cincinnati, where you never even knew that the damn Bearcats football team existed before that. I think you have more, but I like my national champions undefeated or one game. I don't need to see a 2 or win team, 3-team win the national championship. I don't give a damn if it's Alabama. Alabama could lose 3 games, get in this goddamn tournament, and I'll still be like, nah, fuck that. So I believe that's the anomaly, but at the same time, I don't want to see those anomalies. If we do it, just go play in the goddamn Holiday Bowl on December 31st, and we'll be cool. So, like, either way it go, while that might have been one of those things where I call that does not mean I still like it. I want my best teams to play. And if a team like TCU or if a team like Cincinnati, South Florida, UConn, teams that throughout the years ended up in BCS type of conversations or playoff type of conversations, if they continue to build that team throughout the year and next thing you know that they are power, that's great too. I'd rather see shit like that rather than them seeing them get their ass whooped and then we don't hear from them. I'd rather see a team like Cincinnati go from the Conference USA to the Big 12 and grind it up there and still become a national power. If that shit happens, I'm all cool with that. Alabama wasn't always Alabama. Like, when Mike Shula was there with Alabama, their ass was tough. Like, so sometimes you have those moments, but I just want to see my national champions be dominant in a quick ass season. Just need 13 games. We don't need all this extra shit. Go play in the goddamn Whataburger Bowl in Dallas, Texas.
The Chick-fil-A Classic.
Go. Like, I don't even look. I'm so much a traditionalist on some cases that I hate the fact that Gronk got a bowl named after him. I'm so much of that shit.
Jimmy Kimmel got a bowl. That's crazy.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel got a bowl. Like, I'm so much a traditionalist with this shit that when I see some of these bowl names, I'll be like, man, get the fuck up out of here, fam. And yeah, Orlando, like TCU is like
TCU
Utah,
is
been a
Utah.
solid foot. Yeah, it's like Gonzaga. If I want to put it in a basketball type of thing, it's like Gonzaga. For a couple of years, they was like the tournament darling. Now they're a power that has been expected to win a title for quite some time.
One last topic for you, Kyron. We're gonna get you out of here. The Heisman race. You know, it's only week 2, but I think somebody who was probably in the thick of that is Cam Moore, the quarterback from Miami. Miami just had a blowout win over Florida A&M. My brother, who was a diehard Ohio State fan, he be young. Weekend schedule, like all Saturday. That's all he kept saying. Weekend schedule. 56-9. He went 20-26, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is also having a big game last weekend in the swamp against the Gators. What do you think about what you've been seeing from Cam Moore? Is he an early favorite? And if not, who would you put in that battle for the Heisman this early on?
You know, I think he's been playing phenomenal, right? He's a guy that I've been watching for a long time. I watched him when he was at Incarnate Word. Because I played at Jacksonville State, and we played those FCS teams in the playoffs. We played those North Dakota State teams, South Dakota State, those type of teams. So I watched all those kids. So he's got to call my eye a long time ago. And then he's a guy that I did some scouting work for this past season when he was at Washington State. And I love the kid. I love the way he plays. He plays so calm. Like, he plays like a guy that you think is like a 5th or 6th year senior. But this is only his 4th year of college football. He's a guy that's not afraid of the moment. So I think he's playing phenomenal. I think he's comfortable out there. He looks like a veteran. But the thing that I think is going to hurt him in the Heisman type of picture is the fact that Miami probably played on their biggest stage against their toughest opponent already, and that's not a good sign for him. So you look at guys like Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, those type of guys that are going to have the big stage throughout the course of the regular season. I think those guys are probably the front runners. I think Cam is a guy that could probably be in the mix, maybe make it to New York and be there. And I think he's a guy that will have the numbers to back it up. And I think Miami's going to be there in the playoff hunt. But man, not having that big stage to have those pivotal Heisman moments that sticks in people's brains is going to be probably a detriment to him in terms of winning the award. But I think he'll play himself into the picture. And more importantly, he'll probably play himself into stealing some money in the NFL draft coming up, because everybody wants quarterbacks. Everybody loves the guy with potential and ability to keep plays extended with the hose of an arm. So I think he's playing himself into the bigger conversation overall. But it'll probably be tough for him to win the Heisman this year.
Definitely, man. Kai, definitely great to talk to you. He's going to be joining us every Monday, breaking down college football. He's our college football correspondent. We know you got a lot of stuff going on. Let them know where they can get in tune with you and everything you got going on.
Just follow me on Twitter there. That's where I'll be posting everything. So I'm writing with Sports Illustrated now. Been doing with them for a couple months, and I have some other stuff going on. We have a Group of 5 podcast that we host. We just had UNLV coach Barry Odom on last week. We'll have a bunch of other coaches coming up soon. And do some player interviews. So follow me on Twitter and you'll get everything else. And that's where you can find me at. And I appreciate you guys for having me on, and nice to meet y'all.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line.